She was a single mother long before she learned how to be strong. Every morning, she woke up before the sun, careful not to make a sound as she slipped out of the thin mattress she shared with her child. The room was small, barely more than 4 walls and a window that didn't quite close, but she kept it clean because cleanliness was the one thing she could still control. Her hands moved quietly, automatically, packing a simple lunch, folding yesterday's clothes, brushing her hair back into a tight knot that said nothing about exhaustion and everything about survival. Her child slept on, curled tightly, one arm wrapped around a stuffed toy whose seams were starting to tear. She paused every morning to look at that face, soft, unaware, trusting. That look was both her strength and her fear, because loving someone that much meant knowing you could never afford to fail. She worked all day, not one job, several. Cleaning offices where people left coffee cups behind without thinking, washing dishes in a restaurant where laughter floated past her like something from another life, folding laundry in a basement that smelled of soap and damp concrete. No one knew her story. No one asked. She didn't tell. Stories didn't pay rent. When her child asked why other kids had fathers who picked them up from school, she smiled. She always smiled. Because every family looks different, she said. And when the child nodded, satisfied, she swallowed the part of herself that wanted to scream. At night, after homework and dinner and bedtime stories told with a voice pretending not to shake, she sat alone. This was the hour when the world stopped demanding things from her, and she could finally feel how tired she really was. Not the tiredness of muscles, but the deeper one, the kind that lives in your chest and makes every breath heavier than the last. One evening, as she cleaned the room, she gathered the trash. Empty food wrappers, old receipts, broken crayons. At the bottom of the bag was a folded piece of paper. She had written it earlier that day without knowing why. Maybe she needed someone, anyone, to know she existed. She unfolded it once more before throwing it away. The handwriting wasn't neat. Her hands had been shaking. It said, "I am trying my best. If you find this, please don't judge me. I'm a single mother, and some days I don't know how I'll make it. But I love my child more than my fear. If you're struggling too, I hope tomorrow is kinder to you." She stared at the words for a long time. Then she folded the paper again, placed it back in the bag, tied it closed, and carried it outside. The trash bin swallowed the bag without ceremony. She didn't look back. The man who collected the trash that night had been doing the same route for years. He knew which bins were heavy, which lids were broken, which houses left their garbage out late. Most people never noticed him. He wore a reflective vest, drove the same truck, worked while others slept. That night, as he lifted the bag into the truck, it tore. Trash spilled onto the pavement. He sighed, not angry, just tired, and bent down to gather it. That's when he saw the paper. It was clean, folded carefully, as if it didn't belong among scraps and waste. Curious, he opened it. He read the first line, then the second. Then he stopped breathing for a moment. "I am trying my best." He stood there under the streetlight, trash forgotten, the city quiet around him. He had heard those words before, in his own head, in his own life. He read the note again and again. Something in his chest cracked open, not painfully, but enough to let something warm through. He took the paper with him. For the rest of his shift, the note stayed in his pocket. He touched it often, as if to make sure it was real. When he got home just before dawn, he sat at the small table in his kitchen and read it one last time. Then he made a decision. The next day, he posted the note online. He didn't include an address. He didn't include a name. He didn't change a single word. He wrote only this: "I found this in the trash last night. To the woman who wrote it, you are not invisible. You are not weak. and your child is lucky beyond words." He expected a few likes, maybe a comment or two. He went to sleep. When he woke up, his phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Thousands of people had shared the post. Comments flooded in, from mothers, fathers, grandparents, strangers. People who said the note made them cry in their cars. People who said they felt seen for the first time in years. Single parents wrote, "This is me." Children wrote, "This was my mom." Others wrote, "I needed this today." Someone started a fundraiser, not for a specific person, but for the woman who wrote the note. Others joined in. Donations grew. Offers came in. Groceries, school supplies, rent assistance, job leads. The man watched it all in disbelief. He had only meant to share kindness. A few days later, local news picked up the story. They showed the note on screen. They talked about unseen struggles, about quiet resilience. That night, the woman sat on her bed, her child asleep beside her, watching the television on low volume. And then she saw it. Her handwriting, her words. Her heart stopped. She covered her mouth, tears spilling before she could stop them. She wasn't ashamed. She was overwhelmed. For the first time in years, the world was looking at her, not with pity, but with respect. Someone had read her truth, and instead of throwing it away, they had carried it forward. She reached out anonymously through the station. She didn't want fame. She didn't want attention. She only wanted to say thank you. When she and the man finally spoke, briefly, quietly, there were no speeches, no dramatic music, just two tired people who had crossed paths without knowing it. "I almost didn't post it," he admitted. "I almost didn't write it," she said. They laughed softly at that. Life didn't magically become easy. She still worked hard. She still worried. But things shifted. Help arrived when she needed it most. Her child started school with new supplies. The fridge was full. The future felt less like a cliff and more like a road. And somewhere in the city, a man collecting trash knew that one small act, one pause, one choice not to look away had changed more than one life. Some people throw words away because they think no one will read them. But sometimes the right person does. And sometimes kindness begins exactly where the world expects nothing of value at all, in the trash.